Bill Fitzgerald, who's the Vice President of Marketing and Communications at the Little Rock Convention and Visitors Bureau, is joining us on today's Big Blend Radio Vacation Station Travel Show to give us an overview of what the capital city of Arkansas has to offer as a destination and to give us some insight to the recent downtown revitalization. Quite a few $1 million were put into that, and it's very exciting. This area, or the city itself, is home to the U.S. Civil Rights Trail. It's got Little Rock Central High School. It's a National Historic Site. Of course, there's the Arkansas River, and it looks absolutely beautiful with a lot of different arts venues and public art and gardens. You go to their website, because then you'll know what I'm talking about. It's littlerock.com. And again, history, visual and performing arts. There's all kinds of parks, outdoor adventure, shopping, dining, and apparently, Nancy, there's breweries too. So what more could you want? Breweries and water, you know. Nancy and I are very excited. As you know, we're traveling full-time across the country to document America's parks. It's our Love Your Parks tour. Not only National Historic Parks or national parks, but all parks, because all parks matter. And so we thought, well, let's go to Little Rock. Why not? And also, we want to see all the different things they have to offer outside of the parks and get all the different stories that we can when we get there. So welcome, Bill. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. I was waiting for you to get to the beer. That's very important.
Well, yeah. It is. It is important. You know, we call it Wiggy time.
And when you come, I'll take you to visit some of our 10 breweries, our 2 wineries, our distillery. It's all part of the locally labeled passport tour. You might even pick up a little swag on the way.
Oh wow! Ooh. So you've got distilleries and wineries. I didn't. Yeah, every state has wineries, and I didn't think about Little Rock and wineries, but I'm very happy to hear about that. That sounds like fun.
Yeah, this program, we've been doing it for a couple of years now, and we have as many craft breweries per capita as Seattle, which is, you know, arguably the birthplace of craft brewery in America. A couple of wineries and the first legal distillery since Prohibition, Rocktown, and they're doing some incredible things. They've been around for about 9 years, actually just about to have their 9-year anniversary celebration, winning all kinds of international awards for their whiskeys. They do whiskey, gin, vodka, a really great place. You can get a great tour, and it's a great, really fun bar and hangout place. So hopefully we can show you that when you come.
Exciting. I know. So now I heard that you had this big revitalization of the downtown district. Is that connected with the waterfront? And I was looking at the performing arts venue, that there was like a $70 million restoration and renovation.
Right. The Robinson Center was built, you know, I think it was a WPA project back in the 30s. And it was a beautiful facility to begin with, but it was time for renovation. So that, 72 million, something like that. It's a 2,222 seat performance hall. Wow. Beautiful, beautiful place. Wow. We have facilities for meetings within the building too. One of the great places to meet on the back side of the building has a huge deck that overlooks the river. So that's a really nice place to go out and have, have events, company events and meetings and conventions and whatnot. And the performance hall, I mean, the acoustics are just amazing, and it's a gorgeous facility. But yeah, that's at one end of our downtown River Market district, and then at the very other end is the Clinton Center, which is another gorgeous facility right on the river. So we're, the downtown is kind of arranged parallel to the river, and I'm looking out at the river right now from my window. You guys may have heard there were some high waters here. Some of the parks that were on the riverside went offline for a while, but they're coming back. But all the hotels and the attractions, they stayed open the whole time, so we were never really, in dire straits. But it's receding rapidly. Yeah.
Yeah, here right now, as we record this with you, we're in Florence, Colorado, which is also the Arkansas River runs through there. And I'm very excited. Nancy and I have been looking at the atlas. We're going to drive the entire Arkansas River to get to you. We're going to go from the headwaters. And then I saw there's a headwater, the Arkansas River Headwaters Park. Like, this is where everybody goes to go kayaking here in Colorado. And then it's actually above that. It's in a town called Leadville, about a couple hours from where we are, north of us. And so it's like, cool, let's go near there. It's near Vail. It looks beautiful. But we're going to actually follow this river. But here in Florence, Colorado, and this region, there's, the river is really hauling, and apparently one of the top places to surf the river. But the river's flowing this year, and it seems that way across the country that the water's high.
We could just get in and be there tomorrow.
Float down, yeah.
That would
might
be
take more
cool.
than a day, but I think that's a really cool idea to drive the river. It's and it changes, of course. Up there it's basically a whitewater river. Down here it's sort of like the Mississippi. We have a lot of barge traffic. There's a lot of recreation, fishing and whatnot on the river as well. But it takes on a different character when you get a little bit farther south.
Wow, well, it's moving up here.
Yeah, it's moving. Our hotel headquarters is in Yuma, Arizona, and they're, the historic Coronado Motor Hotel. Got to give them a shout out. But they're 2 blocks from the Colorado River, and when we're there, we walk it every morning at sunrise, and it's at the tail end of the Colorado River in America, not in Mexico. It keeps flowing through. But we were up in Rocky Mountain National Park, and very close to the headwaters. And it was like that was moving faster than what we see down in Yuma, and it was smaller though. And even here, I know that the Arkansas River here is like not as wide, I don't think, as what you have. Seems that the wider it is, the calmer it is. The way the rivers flow.
Right, and it's like I said, it's a navigation channel, so there's a lot of heavy barge traffic on it. So it's deeper and wider.
And we can play in there, right? Can we go like on a boat or can we kayak?
I just left a meeting with a friend or a downtown business. They rent kayaks and stand-up paddleboards on the river. They're still waiting a couple of days for the river to drop a little bit more, but we can put you in a kayak or stand-up paddleboard and take a little tour.
I'll take the
cool
kayak.
Because you start within the city, and then within a few minutes, you're surrounded by woods and forests, and they'll point out wildlife. They'll point out wildlife and different features of the river. It's a cool service and tour.
I want to do that. Standing up on the paddleboard is not a good idea. We drink far too much wine for that. But I was going to say the other thing about that's interesting, because I know of our very first conversation, Bill, you were talking about rock climbing, and here I'm just looking at the beginning of the river to the end of the river. This area too is really a popular spot for rock climbing. And so I don't know what's going on this Arkansas River, but apparently your neck of the river is also a hub for rock climbing.
That's correct. I've climbed some in Colorado, and there's plenty of climbing in Arkansas, and Little Rock has our share too. I can be on the crag within 20 minutes of my office, probably.
Wow.
Another thing I wanted to throw in, just outdoor recreation-wise, we have the Arkansas River Trail. You can jump on the trail downtown and make about a 16-mile loop. That's 16 mile. Across a couple of the bridges that we have, or if you're real adventurous, that can be turned into about an 80 or 88 mile bike ride. So if you're hardcore, you can do that. But it's paved and it's flat, and it's gets a lot of usage from our local residents and visitors who come too.
We'll definitely want to do that because we're a big proponent of people getting out and taking a walk. And when you have a multi-use loop, I think it's really important so that anybody with a disability can get out there too. It sounds like that's and that's the thing is when we started our tour. And at the beginning, we were the Spirit of America tour, focusing just on national park units, and then we learned that they're all important. One of the things we realized is that people didn't, they think that national parks you need to be a rock climber, a hiker, a backpacker, and be like totally physically fit. And believe it or not, we drink too much wine to be totally physically fit. We met, and we're very slow as we go because we're filming and looking at every little thing we possibly can. And that is something that we're really trying to promote and let people know that there are numerous places in our country where you can get out there no matter what your fitness level is. And so, with that, especially for kids, when families want to go, you may be pushing a stroller, and you might have grandparents with you. So it's important.
The trails, there are a lot of access points, and like I said, it's flat, it's paved. I see, when I'm out there on my bike, I see tons of parents and kids with little bikes, and even with trike strollers and that kind of thing. So it's very accessible. Yeah, that's a good point.
Oh man, that's neat. I'm excited. I'm really excited about getting out there.
You guys are coming down.
Yeah, we're going to be out. It's going to be in summer, end of July, early August. Everybody watch for us. We'll be posting on social media, especially, and doing all kinds of great coverage when we get there. One of the things that Nancy and I, beyond the beer and the wine and the river, is that the history of the area, because the Civil Rights Trail goes through Little Rock, right?
Right. The U.S. Civil Rights Trail, I believe, touches 13 states, and there are some 100 stops on the trail. We've got Little Rock Central High National Historic Site is one of the top 10 stops on the trail. We also have, I think, 6 other stops on the trail. But besides being the only high school operating in a national park setting, it is an operating high school. And it's a very fine school, one of the best in the country. I've had 2 kids graduate, and my third will be a senior this year. Very fine school. I get goosebumps every time I walk into the office there. It's just such a, it's a mecca on the Civil Rights Trail. And just remind your listeners, the Little Rock Nine, these are 9 young teenage African-American kids. I mean, just kids who broke the color line in 1957 and made history. And a couple of them, will show up every now and then for different events, different anniversaries and whatnot. But everybody here knows about the Little Rock Nine, and it's, we're very aware of that position in the civil rights struggle. We honor and we take very seriously. But it's just a phenomenal place. There's a visitor center across the street that tells you the whole story, and then you can tour the high school itself with the National Park Rangers. So it's very cool.
And it's interesting that it's still a living, breathing school with kids going in there. Does it, especially as a dad, have you seen it affect your kids? Like, do they realize that these youth stood up and they kept wanting to push so they could go to school? Because how many of us, when we went to school, said, I don't want to go to school, and then here it is, these 9 kids getting out there really pushing to be able to go through and going through harassment and bullying. But it didn't. Right. I think the National Guard came in and helped them. And
absolutely.
Yeah, doesn't that affect them now as students in that school?
It does, and actually, if you talk to Nancy Rousseau, who's the principal there, she's a wonderful principal. She'll tell you every student here learns. I mean, we teach them about this and what they went through and how they paved the way for you current. I mean, my kids, they learned it and they studied it and they took it to heart. They're very, they're just very conscious of that. They're also very, just aware of what other people go through, the struggles that other people go through, so that they don't discount that at all.
I think that's great, because I know when we lived in Africa, we saw the Africans, they were so intent on going to school, whereas we had kind of an international community, especially in Kenya, where there were kids from different backgrounds and ambassadors from all over the world, and they were not so intent on school, but the Africans were adamant. They want their education. And I think it's because their parents really told them, you will never get ahead in this world without education, and that's the key. So they were fun in class. I taught a little bit in a couple schools, and they loved it, and they were more fun. Really, they were, because their attitude was like soaking up everything they possibly could.
Yeah, it's important. It's important, and also, when I was in school in South Africa, the last year, my graduating year of high school was the last year of it being segregated, and it took time. And then once the doors were open to everybody, there was some unrest. And now I look at my friends from high school, and watching their kids grow up, and now they're our age, because somehow we all aged. I don't know what happened. But
what happened?
You see a multicultural friendship, more than what it was, in South Africa. I mean, South Africa's history is very similar to what happened here.
and I
So
love that. I mean, this school is, they're not just black and white students today. I mean, Principal Rousseau will tell you there are, I think it's 23 languages are spoken, and something like 26 countries are represented at the school.
Wow.
So it's very diverse, and that's Little Rock is surprisingly diverse. We have a University Medical Center here, and then the University of Arkansas at Little Rock, and a couple of medical centers of excellence. So there really is a diverse population and culture. I'm heading to Chicago tomorrow to promote Little Rock up there, and I was thinking about, Chicago's kind of famous for having a lot of Eastern European influence, and I could say, well, I ate at a Czech Republic restaurant in Little Rock last night.
Wow.
And there's a there's an African restaurant down at the River Market. I was going to say Somali. I'm not sure if it's Somali, but Cuban and Brazilian and a lot of Latin American. Just a lot of cultures and influences are represented here.
Cool.
So, okay, this is important because as we start heading, east, or I should say southeast, and then go through the Midwest, I have this fear of no avocado. Being a Southwestern person. Should I be scared?
We have avocados, yeah.
Okay,
I can't say that we grow them, but we do have avocados.
Okay, that's important. So do you have like farms? Like I was reading that you have a farmer's market and things, but is there local agriculture?
Yes. Right. The farmer's market is actually there's several farmer's markets around town. Probably the biggest one is the River Market, which is right down the street here from my office, and that's under the auspices of the Little Rock Convention and Visitors Bureau. And there are about 70 vendors there.
Wow.
But you'll find farmers markets all over town. And yes, Arkansas is an agricultural state, so we have really developed and refined and adopted and promoted that the slow food movement, the farm to table. From the kind of most basic diner to the most upscale white linen tablecloth restaurant. The chefs and the cooks really rely on fresh local ingredients.
Nice.
So that's a real thing. And I moved here from New Orleans 22 years ago. And
wow.
the cuisine here is on par with just about anything. And we've got some James Beard chefs. We just came back from the Atlanta Food and Wine Festival, and Arkansas put on a great show for the entire Atlanta Food and Wine Festival. We had representatives from Little Rock, Bentonville up in the northwest corner of the state, El Dorado in the southwest corner, and then Wilson in the Delta. And they all served different samplings, and it was a big hit. We made a big show. So lots of good food to eat here. So we got beer, we got food, we got whiskey. What else do y'all need? We got wine. What else do y'all
music.
need?
Oh, I know.
We always need music.
What about music and wildlife?
Yes. Okay.
They go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Well, people like Levon Helm, Johnny Cash. Those are native Arkansans. Little Rock we've got outdoor music, and this time of year, there's music at clubs downtown. A lot of good music. So you won't lack there. What was the other thing?
Wildlife. What kind of animals do you have?
Besides the human ones.
Right, a lot of human animals. I mean, on the river, on that kayak or paddleboard tour, you might see some herons and some deer and some stuff that you might associate with the river. I don't know what else, muskrats and maybe the occasional beaver.
Really?
Look, Arkansas is kind of famous for duck hunting, and just a few miles east of here, you get into the Delta, and that's considered it's along the Mississippi Flyway, so a huge mecca for duck hunters, really from all over. And within town, I mean, people see deer and coyotes and foxes and.
Fox.
I can't guarantee you'll see them, but they are seen around town.
What about bears? Do you have bears?
In the mountains, some of our state parks are kind of famous for that.
Oh, cool.
Mountain Magazine, which is about 2 hours west of here. I think the last time I was driving up the mountain, I saw a bear cross the road.
Nice.
My wife works for Arkansas State Parks. She's seen one or two. One of them was at Queen Wilhelmina State Park, which is kind of in the southwest part of the state.
Queen Miller.
Yeah, more in the mountainous area. From here west and north. But there are bears in Arkansas.
Okay.
Right.
How far are you from Little Rock, the hot springs? Because that's another national park we need to go to.
It is. It's arguably the oldest national park.
Yeah.
It was the first land set aside by federal law for the enjoyment of the people. But it's less than an hour, right at an hour away, easy drive.
Wow. So, yeah, because it looks like, as I'm planning our route, it seems like we can get to everything pretty fast in Arkansas, and it looks like we're going to go through the Ozarks too, right?
Oh, cool.
Or
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That'll be a pretty drive. Yeah, Little Rock is right smack in the middle of the state. We're roughly a square state, and we're right in the middle at the intersection of a couple of big interstates. So easy to get to.
Very cool. We're excited because you're not that far from Natchitoches, Louisiana, where we'll be visiting as well. And this is epic. So now we're going to be there end of July, early August. So let's look at the seasons of Arkansas in general. So I know in the South it gets a little warm, and my hair might get curlier than normal when we come out from the humidity.
We are a southern city. So we do get kind of warm in the summer. Nothing unbearable though. And we're next to the water, so there's usually, we're next to the river, so there's usually a breeze off the river. Today is just amazingly beautiful. It's the middle of June, and it's 70-something degrees and dry and a nice breeze. I used to write ads for the state, and one of the things that we always promoted to, especially the retirement community, was that we have 4 seasons here. We have 4 distinct seasons.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, not all of the country can say that. So
no, they can't.
Very temperate spring and fall. Our fall is really pretty. And winter, we might get a snow, but it'll just be an inch or two, and it doesn't last long. The mountainous parts of the state might get a little bit more. And we'll have a few days below freezing, but it's not it's not a Pacific Northwest kind of environment.
Yeah, if you've seen where we just drove through on Rocky Mountain National Park,
probably still snow in the mountains, right?
Oh yeah, it's like
I think Jackson Hole just got snow the other day.
Oh wow! It just keeps going. Yeah, I have a friend up in Yellowstone, and all of a sudden it's snowing again, and it's like every few days. Look, this is happening. So it's one of those things when you travel. No matter where you go, take layers because you never know what's going to happen. It's
right.
You just never know. I'm very excited about coming out again. Everyone, go to the website littlerock.com, and we're super excited. I know all of our listeners and magazine readers are going to be thrilled. We're going to be taking photos so you can see them in our upcoming new series of our Love Your Parks tour, road trip photo journal. And this is really going to be an epic road trip following a waterway. This is really going to be interesting to be able to do this, and that's a great way of planning road trips. Follow the waterways.
Yeah,
so
that'd be great.
That's how this country was settled.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right. So again, everyone, littlerock.com. And before you go, Bill, is it really you've got all these things happening, and it seems like just such a vibrant community, but is it really you only have 200,000 residents? Because it sounds like, I don't know, I always thought it was going to have like 1 million people or something in Little Rock.
No, people are pleasantly surprised when they come here. We're, a big little city or a little big town. The metro area, which would encompass maybe Conway, which is a half an hour away, and the smaller communities. The metro area is maybe around 500,000, but Little Rock proper is, it's right around 200,000. So it's a good size. It's not too big, not too small. It's kind of just right. And if you thank you for mentioning the website littlerock.com. That front page says find your experience with a Southern accent, and that's another thing that people tell us is and that is really part of our how our brand is built. We are a Southern city. we exercise, we demonstrate hospitality every day, and people are always sometimes they're a little shocked by that, especially if they're maybe from a colder, more kind of distant locale. And it's like, okay, these people were really being nice. Is that normal? We're like, yeah, that's very normal. We're nice people. So
that's cool. Yeah, that's
it's pretty.
We always love to get to a place.
Hospitality.
Yeah, when you get it's true. When you really there's communities you go into, like when we were just in Greeley, Colorado, and genuinely everybody is nice, and you're like,
I think
how did this
happen?
They're
happy.
It's so cool.
I think when people are happy, they're nice. When they're not happy, they're just not all that nice.
Yeah, and we've had some people from great big cities who are frankly a little suspicious when people are so nice, and we're like, no.
Yeah. Are you going to get robbed?
I get it. I mean, I've spent time in a big city. I know how that is, but we're just
like, what do you want? What do you want?
Yeah.
Somebody says hi, it's like, what do you want?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Well, we're not that way. We're not that way. We can't wait to get there. Thank you so much for joining us, Bill. We'll see you. In just a month and a half, 2 months. We'll be there, and we'll see you.
You're very welcome. Thank you all for having me on, and I look forward to seeing you.
And we look forward to our reward of having a Little Rock beer, when we get to the end of the river.
Maybe more than one. But maybe more than one.
There's we're always more than one. That's why we have two hands. But anyway,
I like the way you think.
It's balanced.
Yeah, your song today, and I had a playlist of different ones, but I really want to play this one. It's from a friend, James Saunders. He's out in Hermanus, which is just outside Cape Town, South Africa. An incredible singer-songwriter, and this song, he's been on a number of our World Radio Party shows, and when you think about the Civil Rights Trail, this song comes to mind. It's called "Freedom Has a Way." But at the same time, when we interviewed him, I was like, I was thinking this and this about this song. And he goes, actually, he wrote about it when, he finished high school or college, and he just took a backpack and traveled the world and went through Europe. And he's like, freedom does happen if you go for it, and so it is a travel song. So I figured this is a good song for today. So here it is, everyone. Freedom Has a Way. It's from James Saunders. You can keep up with him at jamessaundersmusician.com. And if you're in South Africa, you'd say Saunders. It's Saunders, so jamessaundersmusician.com. Thanks, Bill.
Thank y'all. Y'all come see us.
We are. Cool.
Yeah.
Before me, stretching up below. It'll take forever if only I go real slow. So take me by the hand, lead me through the door. There's a light in the sky that beckons in the night, leading to a distant shore. Leading to a distant shore. Freedom has a way, like the perfect stranger that came in your world to stay. I walked across these mountains, sailed across the sea, looked down into those deep blue waters 1,000 miles away, and I could never follow your religion all the way. Fear is her companion, the master and his slave, the master and his slave. Freedom has a way, perfect stranger that came in your world to stay. Where does it end? What will you say? Your story will never be in black and white. It's always written in grey. Just a handful of memories to write down in the sand. But these things that are forged so deep inside are never easy to understand. Never easy to understand. Freedom has a way, like the perfect stranger that came in your world to stay. Freedom has a way, like the perfect